If we're looking at the foot, we want to check and see what's going on with the talus, which is your bone right up here, and it rolls right underneath your tibia here, and it allows for that ankle flexion. So once you take a look at that talus and see how it's wiggling, and this one's just a little bit restricted more on the inside than the outside, and that makes sense because her foot, as we saw, is dropping in a bit. So this area here needs more and more and more support. These muscles here are getting more and more tired, and so what's happening is the body's laying down a little bit of scar tissue right on this inside edge so that it gets support from the scar tissue and this muscle gets a little bit of a break. So we expect that to already be the case, so we're going to definitely be adjusting that in that position so that we break up the scar tissue right here. So with the talus, you're going to be looking for a little bit of flexion on that side. Again, you'll feel it's a little looser here because her foot loves to do this motion here, doesn't love to lift in here, which is what it needs to do. So that's going to be the first one we're going to do. I generally stretch the calf before I adjust the talus, so let me show you how that works. I'm going to grab her calcaneus with my palm, and I'm just going to cup the heel with my palm. Then I'm going to put the ball of her foot against my forearm like this. So now this long lever no longer requires my muscle work. I just lean, and as I lean, there's no stress on my body at all. I can definitely overpower her calf, which, you know, can hold up her whole body weight, so it's a pretty strong muscle. And I just kind of tip into this position. Once we're getting this muscle nice and stretched out, we can use speed instead of force to adjust that ankle joint. So the other thing I'm going to do for her, because she'll tell you it's a little more comfortable, when I cup the heel, I'm going to traction down a bit. Relax for me. I'm going to traction down a bit, so now I'm opening up her ankle joint, and I'm leaning this direction, so now she'll tell you it's even better stretch, and there's less stress on the joint itself. Okay, so that's where we're going from there. Now hold this stretch for just a few seconds, and we're going to let that go. Now we're going to go back down and reassess that ankle joint. It's much looser and it's much more ready to go, so now I'm going to adjust it. So because we want to kind of activate and release the medial side of this joint, most of my contact, which for me again is this finger here, is going to be right on that joint. So I'm going to roll right in. The rest of my fingers aren't doing much except stacking on top of that same finger in that same position. Then I'm going to traction her whole body. Now you'll notice when I pull that her whole body moves just a little bit, all the way up the knee and the hip. That means we're at end range. So if I come here and I adjust, her whole body is just going to do this, and I'll tell you it's not very comfortable. She probably is grimacing up there just a little bit, and we're gonna not have as good of a set on this joint. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to traction out so it's all the way at the very end. We're going to flexion up, which I'm using my thumbs to do that, and we're going to do a little impulse, which nicely, easily released her talus. So once that talus is released, you recheck. If you want to, you can go back into that calf stretch and they'll say, wow, that is so much looser. And now you know you got the talus moving.